interest rate, and your monthly payment will be $262 a month.
I have like $700 today, and then I get paid like after taxes like 800 and some change every week, every Thursday. So I Estonia, and I work in Charlotte, so that's really going to eat into anything that I can save.
I got you. I'm really trying to work with you. Kenny is like, family to me, so I really want to, just extend as much as I can. All right, I'll get with the bank. So the most you'll have down is $700, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I'll have to do like I said, I could pay, another portion of it next week, all that money to get the car fixed, just for the engine to blow.
I got you. I'm trying to work with you. It's just, 29% interest rate. I mean, your monthly payment is low. It's just, if we could figure out this open auto situation, or I know.
All right, guys. First of all, 29% interest rate is something I don't think I've even seen before. You have really bad credit, cars stolen, can't pay your bills, your income isn't super high, and you want a really nice BMW, 29% interest rate. At this point, just get a beater car, okay? Like 29% interest rates is not worth it. A lot of times when people drive nice cars, they just fulfill that self-feeling. It feels good to drive a nicer car. It feels good to drive like a German vehicle, You could tell your friends, I got BMW, but at the end of the day, you're literally working just to pop yourself on four wheels and drive around. Okay, if you're paying 29% interest rates on a car, you probably don't have a house. You're probably not saving up money for a property. And like I said, I know a lot of Americans right now just want to have that instant gratification. They want to just get a nice car. It's cool, it's nice, it's fresh. But at the end of the day, you start hitting your 30s, your 40s, and you notice, oh crap, I spent all my money in my younger days working and grinding for a car at 29% interest rates when I could have just bought like a house or a condo. I know houses are expensive. I know some of you guys are stressing out about that, but there's actually a lot of good deals in some cities. You could buy like a small 1-bedroom condo, start off with a small townhome. Instead of spending every single penny and all your blood, sweat, and tears on a 29% interest rate car, this is definitely not worth it.
Let me try to work with the bank, and I'll give you a call right back, all right?
All right, thank you.
Kenny, call me right back. Hey, Kenny, is the line clear?
Yeah.
Kenny, look, man, I mean, her credit isn't the best. She's going to have a high interest rate. But we just got to figure out how to get her a cash car, man. Bad credit, the open auto, the issue with the insurance. She's going to put herself in a different situation, man. I know you're trying to help her out, and I want to help you out, but.
Yeah, so you're saying she should get about a $2,000 car for right now?
I mean, because the thing is.
You have one?
Let me see if I can get one. It's going to be a beater, Kenny. It ain't going to be nothing pretty. It's going to be an A to B car. Some is cheap on insurance and there's good on gas. Because because I know she wanted a BMW, right? That's what she was pressing on that one, wasn't she?
Yeah.
I don't want to put her in a car. Even though it's a Toyota, I don't want to set herself up for failure. I know she's going through something financially, and she's still got the situation going on with the insurance, especially like if she owes $9,000. So
okay, you better know now that you're going to try to invest that to get ADP car won't be that,
Hey, Kenny, what's up, man? What she say?
I don't know what happened just now. But anyways, she would like to go ahead on and get the $10,000 car. The payment is not a problem. She's got to raise the stuff at her job. So payments is not a problem for her.
I got you, Kenny. But it's for 4 years, $260 a month, 30% interest, basically. So I end up paying $22,000 for it. Look, Kenny, if she want to do it, she's grown. It's cool. I'm letting you know.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. This is why people who don't have money stay broke. I'm just going to be real with you. Like 29% interest rates, that's so incredibly high. I'm looking at cars recently. There's like a cool Tesla deal, and they're doing like 5.99, percent interest rates. 5.99 is already kind of high for me when you put it in the calculator and see how much interest you're paying to the bank. Even 4% is kind of painful. I can't imagine 29% interest rates. This is on a whole different level. But if you want to see what's going on with the car market, this is what I'm talking about. Car market repossessions are at all-time high. You have people over leveraging. I know people who make like $35,000 to $4,000 a month after taxes, and their car bill is like $2,000, and then their rent is $1,000, food, insurance, gas, all that. They're literally not making that much money, and the moment when they hit a rough spot, they suddenly are behind their car bills. How are people spending this much money on cars right now? And this is exactly what's going on. If you look at some of these car market repo options, you could literally see very nice cars, BMWs, very nice Nissans, new cars that are just on the market for the past couple years, now on a repossession lot. You could get them on auction. Check this out.
Repo lot in Atlanta, Georgia. Gonna check out all these repos. People done that repo up in Atlanta. I see a lot of Range Rovers, a lot of BMWs, and a lot of trucks. Now we got a little white Range Rover. Beautiful black with red interior and carbon fiber trim. I like this. 2021 Range Rover Sport V6 Turbo. Love the interior on that repo. 2020 Dodge Durango. 2021 Kia K5. Nissan Murano, little Kia Forte, boom, Camaro RS, 23 Camaro RS, and yes, all as far as your eye can see behind me, these are all bank repossessed vehicles. 2021 BMW X6, bank repossession. Oh, got that beautiful mocha interior. Love these cars. 2022 Dodge Ram, 2022 Chevy, 2022 GMC, new Elantra. There's Gus right here. Baba Gus, follow him. Got new Honda Pilot. All these are newer cars. These cars are only about 2 to 4 years old, and there are plenty of them being repoed because people are over leveraging themselves when it comes to the car payment, not understanding how much interest is, and not really understanding what they're committing themselves to financially for the next 3 to 5 years. Again, as far as your eye can see, new cars all down this line. So the videos that I show you guys aren't fake. People are definitely putting themselves in positions where they will be liable to get repoed.
So this is for real. This is actually like a big thing. I think social media is to blame with this. You have so many people on social media flexing their new cars. You clearly see that most of these cars are being rebuilt are in 2022, 2023, even 2024. These are all very new cars. You got BMW X6, you got new Hyundais, you got Range Rovers, and a lot of very, very nice cars. Beamers, Benz, everywhere, Rovers. This is what I'm talking about. People over leveraging. People go on social media, they look at people with nice cars, they're like, I want to have a nice car. I want to have a Range Rover. It would be so cool to have a BMW M3, but they don't make that much money, and the BMW M3 is so expensive. And it seems like nowadays the younger generation is mostly trying to pursue to have a nicer car, cool watches, buy now, pay later, designer clothes, instead of just trying to just live frugally for the first few years and try to save up for maybe like a small property. Like I said at the beginning of the video, I know buying a property is tough, but if you go for something a little bit cheaper, like even in my city, houses are very expensive, but occasionally there's always like the $200,000 condo or like the $200,000 small townhome in the suburbs for sale. I mean, just go for like maybe a property, or at least save your money, do some smart investing, or at the very, very least, just buy a car in cash or buy a car that's actually affordable. I know people who make like 70, 80, 90K, decent salary, but then they go for a new G-Wagon, literally setting themselves up for failure. That's what we're seeing here. You have people driving very nice cars and they still rent. People driving BMW M4s, they still rent. Range Rovers, they still rent. What in the world is going on here? Seems like cars are more important than anything else. Now, at the end of the day, cars are a depreciating asset. They're not going to go up in asset. It's not like buying a bar of gold. These things go down in price as time goes on. And like I said,
What kind of car do you drive?
Mercedes C300.
And how much is your monthly payment?
$920.
Ooh. Lorenza,
Yes.
what kind of car do you drive?
Chevy Tahoe.
And how much is your monthly payment?
$810.
Oh no.
I know.
Justin,
Hey,
what kind of car do you drive?
2018 Tacoma,
And how much is your monthly payment?
$496.
That's not bad. Hey Dustin,
Yeah,
what kind of car do you drive?
a Range Rover Velar,
And how much is your monthly payment?
$760.
That's not bad. What kind of car do you drive?
I drive a 2024 F-150,
And what's your monthly payment?
$1,000.
Oh no. That's the worst one today.
Okay, so now the $1,000 car payments are bad, which I agree. But if you're talking $500 or even $700 a month, oh, that's not bad anymore, apparently, right? That's exactly what these dealerships are trying to make you think, because these deals just keep getting worse and worse. The payments are only going up. Some of the comments: I don't want to drive a mortgage payment, $800 plus for a Chevy Tahoe. They're trying to normalize high car payments. Please stop. I don't trust any car salesperson with a car payment above $500. We have a screenshot right here. I'm nosy. Tell me your car payment so I feel better about mine. $640 a month because I just had to have a panoramic roof that I never opened. $692. Just bought myself a 2025 Camry Hybrid. I know overall it's more reliable than most of the other vehicles people purchase today, but still, you're talking about $700 for a Camry now. $856 because I just had to have a third row. I have one child and he's 13, and he usually sits up front. A picture perfect example of the mom car. A giant school bus looking SUV when you don't have enough kids to fit all of the seats, but it doesn't matter. You're going to be paying that $856 for 72 months, even 84, not including the insurance. By the time the car is finally yours and not the bank's, you don't even want the car anymore. LMAO. And that's how people get into the cycle of car payments for the rest of their lives. Another one: you guys in the comments are making the worst financial decisions I've ever seen. Someone had to have a third row even though they had one kid, just talking about the comment previously. I also work for a dealership, and there's a lot of payments around $1,200 out there, so they just keep upping it higher and higher. $500 used to be a high car payment, then it was $800, now it's $1,000, $1,200 apparently, so anything under, you're getting a good deal. Yeah, sure you are. You guys are paying rent for your cars. Might as well just live in them, because that's all we could afford anymore. I have a lease, a 2024 BMW X1, the smallest SUV you could get, $850 a month. I don't even think about my bill. Just like the mortgage, I need a car, I need a home, still gotta pay them, so you had to get the base model BMW though, right? $850 a month. Sounds to me like you're just paying for the badge on the front and back of the vehicle. $960 a month and $630 a month for insurance. $1,500 a month for a vehicle. Oh man, $1,260, but I pay $1,400 just to knock off a couple of payments for a Tesla Model S. They must have gotten a Plaid, right? Even though they have heavily depreciated since they came out a few years ago. $781 for a 2025 Toyota GR86. $1,075, and I'm a financial advisor. Whoops. $1,897, and that's with 10% down, a 2025 F350. $2,000 a month. I hope at least it's a legitimate work truck. $598 for a 23 Kia Soul. A lot more than I wanted. Negative equity brought me into it. I mean, this keeps going on and on. There's almost 40,000 comments on this video, but we could just move on.
I was working at Mazda and watching people get absolutely ripped off with their car finance every single day. Customers would come in needing a car loan, and we had to mark up their interest rates by 2% just because it was legal so the company could make more money. I would see young people signing loans that they did not understand, paying thousands more than they needed to because nobody explained their options. And the worst part was I was part of that problem. I was trained to maximize profits, not help people get the best deal, and I literally couldn't sleep at night doing this job any longer. So I left and I became a finance broker. Now I compare 25 different lenders instead of pushing one bank's products. Everyone deserves better than bank speak and just one option. That's why I
Commission check and make the dealerships even more money. They are not going to be your friends. We have a comment from you guys. I love these car payment videos. They keep me happy with my 10-year-old fully paid off Mercedes that I bought in cash. Sometimes I get angsty and wish for a newer, nicer car with the latest and greatest tech. But after you see the 4-figure monthly payments become more and more common, you start becoming a lot more grateful with the car you currently have.
What's the highest car payment you've seen?
$1,200.
On what?
Suburban.
Jeff, highest monthly payment you've ever seen?
$3,700.
What kind of car?
McLaren.
Probably $1,500 so far.
And what kind of vehicle was it?
That was a ZR2 Colorado.
$2,600 a month.
What kind of vehicle?
Genesis G90.
Okay.
$3,196 a month.
Wow. That's pretty high. What kind of car was it?
It was a Corvette E-Ray, financed the whole amount.
Nice.
No money down.
About $2,300 on a Corvette.
Probably about like 20,
$2,800, $2,700 around there.
What kind of car?
Probably a commercial truck.
Probably $2,300, $2,200 a month.
What kind of car?
One was a Dodge Dually.
$2,600 for a Genesis. God bless them. That was probably the worst one out of that entire clip. I thought the Corvette payments were just as ridiculous, especially the one who financed it all. Couldn't come up with a down payment, but they absolutely wanted that C8. And as I said before, these prices are only rising higher and higher.
The Economy tonight and are reporting on the prices you're paying for everything. Tonight here, the cost of a new car. What our reporter discovered on the car lot, the average price of a new vehicle in this country, and what's driving this. Here's Matt Rivers.
Tonight, it's never been more expensive to buy a new car. According to a report from Kelley Blue Book, the average price for a new vehicle has cracked the $50,000 mark for the first time ever.
It's shocking.
I think it's obscene.
And that's just what people paid. The average asking price, the MSRP for 2026 models, is even higher, more than $52,000. Talk about sticker shock. The study's authors writing, it was only a matter of time, especially when you consider the best-selling vehicle in America is a pickup truck from Ford that routinely costs north of $65,000. The report says the average price for a new Tesla is $54,138.
Now I know at least that pickup trucks hold their value somewhat because they're utilitarian use. I'm not saying that it's a great value because almost all of them are wildly overpriced, but especially when we're talking about EVs and Teslas, they're taking crazy depreciation hits over the past couple years. So if you're paying $55,000 for a brand new one in 2026, it's going to be worth a fraction of that in just a couple of years. Not something that I would want to deal with whatsoever. And something that I'd like to add, it depends on what state you live in the country. But of course, it's not just the car payments, it's the insurance, the gas, the maintenance that goes along with it, and possibly a vehicle registration renewal. Most of the time, it depends on the value of your car, and it could be a ton of money, especially if you're buying something brand new. This person on screen had to pay an extra $920. Where I live in North Carolina, you have to pay a percentage of the value of your vehicle every single year to the state. Along with all the other expenses of owning a vehicle, it could get unbelievably expensive.
And how much you end up paying a month? How much you end up paying a month? Too much. What's too much?
Where we getting ready to take a picture at?
Right here.
By this car?
Yeah, by your new car. Came in for an oil change.
I know, right?
Now you left with more debt. But how much you pay a month?
Throw this tissue at you.
Yeah, how much you pay a month?
$520.
There you go. Zero down. The goose egg.
$520 a month for a hopefully already pretty heavily depreciated Jeep Grand Cherokee when this person was only coming in for an oil change. I don't know the value of the car that they had initially, but they'd probably traded it in, and now most likely you're stuck in another payment cycle for what, 5, 6, 7 years possibly? And by the time those payments are finally done, that Jeep is going to be almost worthless. Stellantis has been having a real tough time over the past few years.
CarMax has to be stopped. This is a 2015 Nissan Altima S, meaning that it doesn't have a backup camera, base model, no frills, no features, and they want 12 grand for this. Check this out. Now this one's locked, I can't show you the inside, but check this out. 12 grand for a 2015 Nissan S with 126,000 miles. This thing's going to need a new transmission the moment you drive this off the lot. $308 a month for 72 months. Look at this, 72-month term without a down payment. I mean, you could put a down payment down and bring this down maybe $20, but you're still paying close to $300 a month in 2025 for a car with no backup camera, cloth seats, and a horrendous CVT. To top it off, look at this. They tried to polish the lights, but they didn't do a very good job.
And then CarMax will be shocked that it'll just sit on their lot forever. 12 grand and over 120,000 miles on a Nissan? A decade-old base model Nissan, I should add. Who's going to pay that kind of money? Nobody. I just don't understand where they're pulling these numbers. And I know some of the salesmen try to play into this to get engagement on their TikTok or possibly bring in clients, but still, I don't know why any of them are surprised that less people are buying.
So what's the biggest hiccup on why you haven't bought a car yet?
If you're looking at buying a car and you haven't bought it yet, what's the biggest reason you haven't bought it yet? Tell me in the comments, maybe I can help. And follow Ramsey Sells Cars.
So this clip had 27 likes and 423 comments. Costs too much. You guys want $45,000 for a mid-sized pickup and $85,000 for a full size. Does that answer the question? The price is not a mystery. They're all still $10,000 too high. Interest rates and MSRP is too high. $70,000 for an extended full-size SUV is absurd. I was actually going to buy a brand new F-250, but the price has surpassed the quality. Overpriced because a Ford Focus could cost up to $40,000. And if you wanted to comfortably afford the best-selling vehicle in America, you're going to have to make a lot more money than you probably think.
So does anyone else besides me think how crazy it is that the Ford F-Series is currently the #1 vehicle sold in the United States? However, most Americans are currently in debt affording this car. So let's see how much you need to make to comfortably afford a 2025 Ford F-150. So the total price of this Ford F-150 XLT came out to be right around $54,000. However, when you multiply it by 7% sales tax, you get a brand new total of around $57,000. Taking the total price of the vehicle, adding 20% down, financed at 5% for a total of 60 months, you're left with a total monthly payment of around $872. So the annual insurance cost for a Ford F-150 is going to be right around $2,400 a year, so it's roughly going to be around $206 a month. The annual maintenance cost on a brand new Ford F-150 is going to be right around $788 a year, so that's roughly going to be around $65 a month if you were to budget this out. And after we add all of this together, we're left with a total monthly payment of around $1,100 a month. And if you were to multiply this by 10%, you'll find your monthly gross income, then multiply this by 12 to find your annual gross income. And you roughly should be making around $137,000 a year to be able to very comfortably afford a 2025 Ford F-150.
And with all the F-150s that you inevitably see on the road, do you think each one of them are making almost $140,000 a year? I doubt it. And we're not even talking about the F-250s or 350s from any of the other manufacturers as well. That gets wildly more expensive. So that's how we have a total of over $1.6 trillion worth of car debt in the US. Now we could go over to a Mustang segment in this video. I found a couple of them just talking about Mustangs alone. We'll roll it.
This car has been on our lot longer than I have, and I don't know why. Behind me is the 2023 Mustang GT Premium, and here's 3 reasons this car should be gone already. Reason number 1 that this car should be gone is it has just over 10,000 miles on it. That's only 5,000 miles a year. Reason number 2 this car should be gone is it's actually purple and not black. This paint color is called Purple Mischievous Metallic. Reason number 3 this car has to go. Listen to this exhaust. In all honesty, we just got this car in last night, and I just started today. But if you're watching this video, I can sell it to you for $42,991. Let me know in the comments, would you drive a purple Mustang?
$42,000? Are you out of your mind? That's what a new one costs. Trade in on Kelley Blue Book, assuming it's in very good condition, is between $35,000 and $39,000. And we all know it's most definitely not towards the high end. And seeing how your dealership has a 2.5-star rating and the internet price is already $1,000 cheaper than what you stated, I'm assuming the price of this vehicle with the sales department did not go over well after posting this video. It's almost like they're trying to get you into the dealership because then you're already taking the steps to purchase, and then they'll hit you with all of those extra hidden fees, and no wonder why they have 2.5-star rating online. But for some people, it does not matter. They're gonna wreck their finances just to afford one. Imagine not getting your dream car because you're scared of a loan. With the red Mustang on screen, when all you do is work to afford a $1,200 car payment. And again, yet another Mustang. Hopefully it's the GT at least. But we could go over to the comments. $1,200 a month Mustang and didn't get a GT 500. Is this rage bait? The creator responds, I got a 460 credit score. I don't know if he's truthful about that. He's probably just playing into the bait. But as we've seen on this channel, people with that bad of credit score have still tried to purchase vehicles to show off to others, no matter how bad the payments could get. Another one here, $780 a month lease, $2,000 down, first time buyer for a 2026 Tacoma. For a lease, bro, $780 for a lease. $700 on a lease is wild. Unlimited miles, tires and maintenance, etc. And then the salesman replies, bro, it's a trail hunter. I thought $700 a month loan was bad. Again, the response, this is a trail hunter, as if anybody cares. And I'm not saying that I don't like cars and that it would be nice to have a fancy vehicle, a sports car, something along the lines of that. But the things that some of these people do or try to justify for the trim level is just absolutely off the walls for me. Another comment here: worked at a Ford dealership from 99 to 2015, and one of the most important things that I learned was just because it's new doesn't make it reliable. I think you could really lump in all manufacturers.
$800 for service B. I won't be accepting any more texts this month, any more phone calls this month, unless it comes with some money. I'm sorry, that's all I got. That's all I got. Like,
It's only $800. How'd you buy a luxury car and can't handle the maintenance? People love to see that badge on the vehicle though. Everyone wants a luxury car until it comes time to get something fixed. Hit the nail right on the head there. Another comment here: I used to wonder how so many people could afford all of their new homes and 2 new cars. As I got older, I realized everyone's broke, especially when you start seeing deals like this 2024 Chevy 2500. The APR is almost 21%, $1,600 a month for 72 months. The total amount of payments will be almost $115,000 for this thing. There's no way on planet Earth that this would be worth it at all. 20% APR. Did you sell this truck to someone with a FICO score of 300? Repo guy following home, $1,500 for a used truck. There are tons of clips like this and new ways that they're trying to get more customers in when your new 2026 is only $500 a month for a Kia K5, but it's got that nice fancy red interior. For some reason, people equate that to luxury, even though it's still a Kia at the end of the day. And another example of trying to make $500 a month seem cheap. I don't know, with today's climate, I feel like a lot of people would like to have an extra $500 a month. $500 a month for car payments? Lord, in this economy, exactly what I just said. Some people are paying $800 to $1,000. I mean, it's like I'm a broken record. They're saying the exact same things over and over again, these salesmen. It's not that bad. At least it's not $1,000 or $1,200. That's what I see all the time. Another one of the tactics up on screen I've seen recently: 2026 Camry with a pink interior. So now red isn't cool enough. You want the pink interior. Who do you think they're trying to sell this to? And I guess it's working. I'll trade in my 2025 XSE right now. You're telling me I could have done this with my 86? So you're saying I should trade in my car? The creator replies, yes, I'm saying that. Go ahead, roll your negative equity into another vehicle just with different colored seats. Genius. It really is never ending. Me with $18,000 and then me without $18,000 with a Toyota Supra and a $1,582 monthly payment. There's no way that's your payment. That's 20% APR. I mean, I don't really hate the way the new Supra looks. I think the Mark IV is much better, and I feel most people think that way too. But for almost $2,000 a month, there's no way I would ever buy it. But we can move on to the modern tech that comes along with these wildly overpriced new vehicles.
You guys, check out the window controls on my new car. This is so cool. My old car had separate buttons for each window so I could just feel it. But then I was wasting all this time looking at the road, paying attention to where I was going. Now, if I want to roll down the back window, I can stare down on my knees and fumble around with a touchscreen the size of an almond, all while I'm traveling at 70 miles an hour. The really cool part too is sometimes it doesn't even work. Kind of keeps things exciting. So massive shout out to Volkswagen for this huge step forward in human progress.
Now, I know part of the problem with modern vehicles is that there's a ton of rules in the US. Regulations when it comes to the engine and how efficient it could be, on top of tons of different safety regulations, right? And in a way, I understand, but when it comes to this type of new tech, how is this kind of stuff even allowed? The giant screens that you have to stare at and click through several different option menus just to be able to turn on the AC, how is that safe when you're driving on the road? Same thing with the example on the windows right there. You're not paying attention for a second or two because you have to look at the touchscreen and then be able to use the windows correctly, and then you have no idea what's been happening on the road at that time. Sounds like a really easy way for people to get into way more accidents. All I want are buttons. No more screens, just buttons. Everything after this was a mistake with a lot of the knobs we've seen on older cars. Bad news for fans of the living. I really don't understand how a lot of these apparent new features even get past safety regulations. And to keep on with the modern infotainment screens, it's only a matter of time until they run ads on your 3-screen dashboard. Every time you turn on the car, you're gonna have to sit there for 30 seconds while you're just getting hammered by Coca-Cola and Red Bull ads. I know it sounds ridiculous in 2025, but I'd like to see what happens in 2035. But let's go back over to the dealership with the salesman paying ludicrous amounts of money for their vehicles that are all, of course, financed as well. mistake with a lot of the knobs we've seen on older cars. Bad news for fans of the living. I really don't understand how a lot of these apparent new features even get past safety regulations. And to keep on with the modern infotainment screens, it's only a matter of time until they run ads on your 3-screen dashboard. Every time you turn on the car, you're gonna have to sit there for 30 seconds while you're just getting hammered by Coca-Cola and Red Bull ads. I know it sounds ridiculous in 2025, but I'd like to see what happens in 2035. But let's go back over to the dealership with the salesman paying ludicrous amounts of money for their vehicles that are all, of course, financed as well.
I'm Ed Howard. I've worked at this dealership for 15 years, and I'm thinking I probably spent $300,000 in cars that I've purchased. Oh my God, no wonder I'm so broke.
Hi, my name's Alicia. I've been here for 13 years. I think I've spent maybe 400 grand on cars here. Yikes.
Hi, I'm Matt Liebig. I've worked here for 15 years. I think I've spent $300,000 on cars.
I'm Chris. I've been here for 8 months now. I think I've spent probably 100 grand. Ouch.
Hi, my name's Alex. I've been here for about 18 years, and I think I've probably spent somewhere between, let's just say, $500,000 to $600,000 on all my cars. That's a lot more than that.
So all the numbers we saw in this clip are life-changing amounts of money, but all that money disappears because you wanted to buy a brand new BMW over and over again. I know the MSRP was probably much lower than all of the total cost that they paid over time, so that's how much extra money they lost due to financing. Financially irresponsible final bosses. $1.3 million in 15 years is around $87,000 a year. That guy is giving his employer more money per year than my employer pays me per year. Again, all to just be in the newest model BMW year after year, instead of legitimately being able to retire years before you think. Can't say it's worth it in my opinion.
Bro, please tell me this is a joke, right? I'm just trying to figure out, how do you owe $25,000 on a Mercedes that has 170,000 miles?
When I got out of high school, I wasn't really too smart about the car finances and stuff like that. It was pretty much blindly signed. It was a 26% interest rate. I got it from CarMax. Originally, the note was like 500 something plus the CarMax gears, stuff like that. So it went up to 600. After tax, 628 or 668.
But you said you bought the car in 2021?
Yeah, 2021.
4 years later, if you bought it for 25, how you still owe 25? How much do you have down?
Credit score 580. Now I don't have anything really down. I'm like an Amazon driver.
Time being, just use the car and just be careful if they're gonna pick it up. But I mean, if that's your only mode of transportation, hustle for a year or two, get your credit up, and then when you have a 700 credit score, you climb the Amazon ladder and go get a nice car. But right now, the situation is when people see luxury cars and high interest rates, they don't really think about getting it to this point.
But you getting right out of high school, your mind's set on that Mercedes that you saw at CarMax. We saw the example earlier in how bad the Nissan deal was. This Mercedes one with 170,000 miles is way worse. Spending $25,000, still owing $25,000 4 years later as an Amazon driver, but you needed that luxury badge. He kind of made it sound like it was possibly getting repoed in the future as well. I mean, the entire situation is just a mess. Who buys a Mercedes just out of high school? You have to flex though, right? What are these interest rates? The average Canadian interest rate are 5 to 10%. That would probably be with some pretty solid credit, but 580 is pretty low. Seeing these videos have convinced me I will never own a car again. I mean, if you could somehow manage, maybe if you live in a city where you work from home and the grocery store is super close, but most of the time when we're talking about the US, you almost need some sort of transportation. Now, a new vehicle that's been popping up that I'm going to see into the future, if anybody purchases, will lose a massive amount of money, is the one up on screen right now. They have a Nissan Armada Nismo version starting to show up on lots today. I personally don't really like the way it looks. Kind of just looks like a riced out vehicle, but it's from the manufacturer. And we go over to the comments. It's going to sit for 2 years. That's a cute oversized Nissan Cube. All that for a 6 second 0 to 60. Recalls coming in soon. And of course, there's consistent issues with Nissan as a whole, but the other problem is the 2026 Nissan Armada Nismo starts at an MSRP of $81,720. For a Nissan, you're paying $80,000 for a Nissan. It's going to be funny looking at it just a few years in the future. The depreciation hit is going to be unreal. And now
car buyers are choosing 84-month or plus loans to get them through all of this. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so when you have super high prices and super high interest rates, let's say you last bought a car 7, 8 years ago when interest rates were basically nothing, you're getting thousands of dollars off when you're just negotiating with the salesperson. Now you come into the dealership and they're like, sorry, maybe the best we can do is $500 off. That's the max incentive that we can allow. Even if you're a qualified buyer, you're getting close to 7%, maybe over 7% in interest rate. So you walk into the finance office with a number that you had in mind from 7, 8 years ago, thinking, oh, maybe $500, $600 a month.
Yeah.
And then they tell you, sorry, it's going to be $1,150 a month for the car that you need for your family right now, or the car that you need to get to work. And really the only leverage that, you know, both the consumer and the finance office has at this point is, can you kick out the loan a year and a half?
Right.
You know, can you go for a 7-year loan? Can you offer a 7.5, 8-year loan?